Hi, everyone. I'm Tony Parkin, Vice President with the Business Consulting and Education team of Schwab Advisor Services, and this is Schwab at Home. Over the past decade, in addition to running our industry-leading RA benchmarking study, we at Schwab have been analyzing and reporting on trends around mergers and acquisitions in the RA industry. Looking at the first half of 2020, deals in the space were down 48% from the same period of 2019 and down 23% from what we saw in the first half of 2018. But we've started to see a rebound, especially in late summer. And it looks like the results for Q3 and Q4 are going to return to be very strong, if not set records in the industry. Joining me today to share his thoughts on the current environment is John Furey, founding and managing partner of Advisor Growth Strategies. Hi, John. Great to see you. How are you?
I'm great, Tony. Great to see you too. Looking forward to having a great discussion about M&A.
I appreciate you joining me this afternoon. I've got just a few quick questions that I was hoping to get your thoughts on to share with our audience out there. And we'll start where the headlines normally go. I just mentioned that deal volume was down significantly in the first half of this year. Some might expect that would have a downward pressure on valuations in the marketplace as well. Fact or fiction, John? What do you think? What are you seeing with the clients that you're working with?
Yeah, based on what we're seeing, I would characterize it as completely fiction because valuations have not changed. In fact, in certain scenarios, we're seeing transactions being bid up. So I would characterize valuations as steady to rising currently. And I think there could be a misread in the market because yes, transaction closings slowed down in Q2, but the relative activity remained high, if not higher. So I think as we look forward, you'll see more transactions and stable to higher valuations.
Where I wanted to go next was, what's the pandemic environment doing to deals in terms of the structure and the mechanics of how they normally get done, and even the mentality that the mentality shift it might be having with firms as they're sitting across the virtual table from each other.
So I think the good news is everyone's being conditioned to work virtually, Zoom, whatever you're using. So I would say participants have figured out ways to be nimble without getting together. To get a deal done, you still have to interact, but these platforms have been helpful. Firms have continued to reach out, either buy side or sell side, to maybe consider a transaction. The pandemic has demonstrated that we don't have to be co-located to actually complete transactions. So if you look towards the future again, I predict you'll see a greater volume of transactions because of that reason.
Fantastic. Yeah, who would have expected we'd have deals between firms closed who hadn't met each other in person? Fantastic. Well, the last question, John, I wanted to ask you was a bit of a prognostication into the end of this year and looking out into 2021. Are we going to see a return to the norms of the past couple of years as we look at transactions, or is there going to be a new norm that we should expect?
Yeah, I think the norms we've known are not changing. First one, large firms getting larger. The second one is founders, owners needing to get liquidity for their equity. So think succession planning, exiting the business. So that won't change. I think what's different is we are now going to see operators that have always thought they'd want to continue to operate now take a step back and say, hey, should I be looking at the opportunity to partner or hand operations off to a better operator, a larger operator with more capabilities? So I think more transactions, and I think as we look out, more services capabilities that will only benefit investors, teams of advisors, and owners.
Well, again, I appreciate you joining me for a short conversation this afternoon. For those of you out there looking for a deeper dive into this discussion, know that John and I will be joining two industry experts for a much lengthier discussion around the evolving role of M&A in the RIA marketplace, an education session for this year's virtual Schwab Impact Conference. Thanks to everyone for listening. From all of us at Schwab Advisor Services, I'm Tony Parkin, and this has been another edition of Schwab at Home.